Hello and welcome to this drum lesson for Weird Fishes, Arpeggi. So, this tune is by Radiohead, obviously, and the great Phil Selway, a massive influence of mine. Basically grew up playing along to the Benz OK Computer, and then the later albums from then, but my formative years, more of the earlier stuff. But this is from an album in Rainbows, which is incredible. Basically all their albums are incredible, really. Great band. So yeah, let's get into this. So it's actually quite a tricky pattern. So I think because it's quite fast in a way, and it's quite sparse on the bass drum. So the opening section, which is basically the first half of the song, we're on the hi-hat. And we're basically doing this pattern, which is, we're doing eighth notes, and we're doing snares on 2 and 4, but we're doing the syncopated hits on the last 16th note of beat 2 and beat 4. So I'll just play the hi-hat and snare drum pattern slowly. So that is just continuously going. It's a bit faster, so it's like this. Okay, and what we're doing is the bass drum is doing every 2 bars, we're doing 2 kicks and then 1 kick. So 2 kicks to begin with, and then at the beginning of the 3rd bar, after 2 bars, we do 1 kick. So it's like this. So that's the opening section, just like that. Then what happens is it goes on to the ride, same pattern. Exactly the same pattern. There's a couple of crashes and bits in there, but it's essentially exactly the same pattern. So 2 kicks every 2 bars and then 1. Okay. And then there's a big gap section, and then the outro. We kind of flatten out these snares a bit. So instead of doing the syncopated hits on beat 2 and 4, we're just doing it on 2. And then 4 is just a straight backbeat. And the kicks are thus. Kicks are the first bar you're doing kicks on 1, 3 and 3 and then the last 8th note, beat 4. Second, and then the second bar, you don't play on the 1 because you're doing kind of every other kick drum. And then 1 and. The second bar is 1 and on the kick drum, 3 and 3 and on the kick drum. Back round to the 1. That's it. It's trickier than it seems. The patterns are simple. Sorry about that. Patterns are quite simple. It's quite fast, but it's more tricky than you think because musically it's not that straightforward. So the rest of the music is kind of slightly moving over it, not rigid to that kind of. That's a very rigid pattern, but it works so well because it swirls in and out with the rest of the music. That's what it feels like to me anyway. It's a great pattern. It's more difficult than you think to play, like I say, because of the lack of bass drums. A lot of drummers would fill in loads of bass drums, and I love how he doesn't. I think I love bass drum patterns. I love bass drum patterns, and like making sure you get the right one. I think it's so key to writing a really good drum part. Phil Selway is brilliant at writing great drum parts. Like, there are drummers that are fantastic, obviously, and they do all the showy stuff, but like, I care more about drum parts. Like, yeah, it's cool to watch a drummer like rinse it, but when you see someone playing a song and the part is so good, and also when you're recording as well, like if you're recording something and you get the part right, it just sits and it sounds great. Better than like adding loads and loads of notes. If it needs it, do it. If it doesn't need it, don't do it. Play for the song. He plays for the song. I try and do that. But that's really hard to do. To play for the song is actually really tricky. But try it, And this is a really good exercise in playing for the song. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.